So, ladies and gentlemen, given the challenging geopolitical and economic fluctuations, how can Malaysia navigate itself in an increasingly uncertain, undependable, and transactional world? How do we uphold our agency and advance our interests? So first and foremost, Malaysia's foreign policy will remain independent, and that is fiercely independent, proactive and non-aligned. This is not merely clinging to the past, but a calculated and deliberate approach, which considers who we are, where we came from, what served us well, and how we need to adapt. We will not hesitate to adopt positions, cultivate relationships, and support initiatives that advance our values, beliefs, and interests. Malaysia, on the other hand, cannot remain neutral on matters that involve fundamental rights, such as the Palestinian struggle, or in countering Islamophobia, or on our core national interests, including territorial sovereignty, even when it comes to powerful partners like China and the United States of America. We remain in touch, we engage aggressively, we maintain our strong bond of friendship, and we realize that peace and prosperity should be in the forefront while protecting our national security. Therefore, we take a principled stances and positions and not take sides. Easier said than done. You are familiar with this. We are expected sometimes to take strong positions, particularly against our neighbor, China, but we have said, no. We will take a principled stance. We'll continue to cultivate friendship. As you know, Malaysia still registering trade and investments, number one, with the United States, but we remain aggressively and engaging more effectively with China, which is growing economy and an important neighbor to us. So these include our unwavering support for the resolution or peaceful resolution of disputes in accordance with international law. Because the use of force or coercion, military or economic, will only compound resentment and unintended consequences. Our norms like the freedom of navigation, respect for sovereignty, adherence to established legal frameworks are essential for regional and global security. So on that score, Malaysia reiterates our commitment to multilateralism and collaborative, consultative approaches in the conduct among nations. We do not just support such mechanisms and approaches, we endeavor to do what we can to defend it. Global governance should reflect contemporary realities. Developing countries and the global south deserve greater representation in decision-making with the perspectives of Asia, Africa, Latin America, and the Pacific carrying greater weight. Global rules should be shaped with, not merely for, developing nations. The answer to ever greater uncertainty and weakening of global norms and institutions is not less multilateralism, but more effective cooperation. No one country can effectively address the ramifications of climate change, pandemics, food security, or cyber threat alone. The international community should strengthen, not weaken, multilateral institutions. Now, given our rich heritage and diversity, Islamic, Chinese, Indian, indigenous, which is quite unique, I believe Malaysia, with our colleagues in ASEAN, is uniquely positioned to build understanding across regions, cultures, and civilizations. We'll continue to engage actively with our neighbors in ASEAN, with countries in the global south and the third world, or the global south, and the Islamic world. And we'll continue this again with a principled stance of centrality. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're not overstretching our influence as a small country, but we must realize that as a trading nation, spreading global trade routes and supply chains is a trademark of our economic policy. In real terms, however, foreign policy is not merely about diplomacy of international trade. It is about jobs. It is about investments, technology, education, and opportunities for all. Here, urban and rural and the heartland. So over the years, we have worked to deepen economic ties with our traditional trading and investment partners, utilizing existing free trade agreements such as ASEAN FTA, RCEP, CPTPP. We have been at the front to streamline tariffs, improve market access, and facilitate more equitable investment flows. Concurrently, we also sought to expand trade with newer, less leveraged markets in West Asia, Central Asia, Latin America, and across the African continent. This is where economic policy and economic diplomacy rides on geopolitics yielding an ideal combination. So our approach is on genuine collaboration in areas such as halal industries, digital economy, agriculture, and green tech. Above all, energy is strategically pivotal. Just recently, in conjunction with my official visit to Turkmenistan, Petronas signed agreements with state entities to explore and develop 2 massive gas fields. This was coupled with the signing of a long-term framework on hydrocarbon development, including the role of human and technical capital between Malaysia and Turkmenistan. And this is an extension of what we have done and achieved remarkable success in terms of establishing the ASEAN energy grid, Vietnam, across to Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, to Malaysia, Singapore, and the undersea cable from Sarawak to Sabah, Indonesia, Philippines, and to Singapore. This sort of a concrete, cohesive understanding and partnership is, to my mind, unrivaled. This is the unique story, success story of ASEAN and ASEAN collaboration. So our goal is to continue to strengthen this existing partnership, build new ones, and keep our economic ties broad-based, resilient, and forward-looking. In a most uncertain global environment, diversification is not just an economic strategy. It is a national and regional necessity. What we have strived over for the years when it comes to Malaysia's foreign policy may be stated as the following: an approach that is principled, not yet constrained by rigidity, ambitious and bold without being reckless, fiercely independent without forsaking the spirit of conviviality and collaboration.